And welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposals. I am your host, Coach Donnie Hess, back with another AFL round review. And ladies and gentlemen, round 17 has come. It has gone. How awesome is it to have 9 games again? Fantastic, fantastic to have 9 games back. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about it. And today I have some brand new co-hosts. And this is so awesome because I love connecting with other footy podcasts, especially ones that I think need a little bit more attention. And I found 3 gentlemen to join me today that I think I'm going to have so much fun with this discussion. Joining me from the TNT Footy Podcast, we have Taz, Todd, and Eggy joining me today. We'll start off, Taz, since you were the one I connected to on the account. Thank you for hopping on the podcast, one, at first, and two, was it interesting getting a reach out from an American footy podcaster?
Yeah, g'day, mate. Well, thanks for the invitation. It was different, but to be fair, it's really great because the game is growing in America, and we need content creators such as yourself to continue promoting the game over there because it's in my opinion, and I'm very biased, it's the best sport in the world.
Well, I am not going to argue with you, and I'm not sure if you guys know this, but there's actually 3 podcasts over here that are quite kind of that have some traction. You have myself, you have Craig Wessels out of Ohio, the Yank on the Footy, and fantastic. In fact, he's actually, last time I checked, he's like in the top 20 in footy podcasters because
He's incredible,
yeah,
very
he's
popular over
very
here.
awesome. Retired school teacher. In fact, he is absolutely up and about because he is actually going to be on a plane very soon and headed down his way to Cadenia Park and GMHBA Stadium. He's so happy to be able to see his beloved Cats. And then a pair of brothers out in San Diego called Americans Watching the Footy, the Kessel brothers. One's a West Coast Eagles supporter, the other one's a Cat supporter too. And I know both of those 2 podcasts and their hosts quite well. Great guys, very knowledgeable. Part of my Americans fantasy footy team, footy league that we have over here, and quite competitive. In fact, I'm cussing at a few things because I've lost a few games I probably shouldn't have because Jack Sinclair decides to get hurt, and
Go
and I'll
ahead.
tell you guys this later. I had an epic fantasy draft, and I'm still mad at myself because I traded away somebody I shouldn't have. In fact, Eggy's going to be mad at me. I traded Josh Dacos because I needed another midfielder. Made the mistake, traded him for George Hewitt, and then Hewitt got dropped a week later.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, I'm so mad, so mad. So we'll go off that. So Todd will hop on to you, sir. Again, how interesting is it to hear footy being talked about in an American accent?
yeah, it was a bit different when I first jumped on without the other words and I heard the American. I assumed when Tassie told us you're an Australian living over in America, but when I heard the accent, I thought, oh, that's a bit funny. But I have been told it's growing over there, and there's a huge like fan base of footy over there now, and you've even got your own couple of leagues over there.
Yep. So we have the USAFL, which last time I checked, we're up to about 50 teams throughout the country. A little
That's huge.
mostly in big metropolitan areas, which is absolutely fantastic. And then Eggy, hopping on to you, sir, as the pies man that you are. Again, I'll ask you the same question. How interesting is it, or how cool is it seeing Americans getting into this wonderful game of football?
Oh, it's sensational. I was a big fan of Mason Cox coming over too, so it made good that he's got a few more fans coming his way. So is Mason Cox a big? Are you a big supporter of Mason Cox?
I actually have met him. He shook my hand and my hand disappeared. I went to US Nationals in California a few years ago and got to meet him and shook his hand. Like I said, my hand disappeared. Is that big? In fact, funny fact. I've told this a few times. His brothers actually play footy over here.
Oh,
Both are
nice.
Rucks. One plays in Seattle and the other plays for probably the best team in the country in the Austin Crows. In fact, if I remember correctly, the one that plays for the Crows is actually the Team USA ruck, one of the better rucks in the country. So,
Yep.
so
That's
it's not just
fantastic.
him. The Cox family has slowly become quite the footy family, which I thought was quite interesting on that. So enough about the US. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the AFL because round 17 has come. It has gone really quickly. We'll start with you, Eggy. Your thoughts on round 17 as a whole?
I thought it was pretty good. A lot of upsets. We had Frio going down. We had Brisbane getting over the top of Geelong. Gold Coast were favourites to beat Collingwood, but we beat them, and Carlton just keep on charging. So 7 on the trot. But they're the one to worry about, that's for sure. But yeah, it's been a great round.
Yeah, great transition. Taz, how up and about are you as the Blues man that you are? 7 in a row. And right now, you're in 10th. Finals are they
It's
here?
good. Not yet. No. I'm probably one of those Carlton supporters that doesn't tend to try and get ahead of myself. I was playing it off at the start of the year, saying we'll be flaggers and all that sort of stuff, but I was only doing it in jest. So look, it is good that we're winning. But there's some really good signs from Richmond as well.
Hmm.
I don't think we can write them off. I think in the next few years they're going to be a very, very good football side. They're just young and they've got injuries at the moment. So yeah, no, it's good.
All right, Toddy, real quick. Let's stay off North Melbourne. We'll save that vitriol for
Yeah.
later. As a whole, your thoughts on round 17?
That was a good round, and it's unlucky that the Pies, Carlton, and North are all fighting for that same spot. So we sort of can't go to a final together because we're all fighting for that same spot. But Fremantle going down was huge. I had them pegged as winning the whole lot and going unbeaten for the rest of the season. And then Melbourne, that was a huge first half. Just sort of
Mhm.
dominated down there in Tassie.
That was definitely that was a little bit of a shocker. Can't wait to talk about that one because that one I tuned in and was just like, seriously, what am I watching? Like, was
Yeah,
And
utterly
then
stunned just because Hawthorn has been so magnificent down in Tasmania. But let's go through it real quickly. Let's discuss each games real quick. Let's start off the first kind of stunner to start off the round as the Brisbane Lions go down to GMHBA and kind of put a whooping on the Cats, 123-101, a 22-point win. Taz, will start with you. Should we be worried that the Brisbane Lions are starting to get their shit figured out?
I wouldn't be worried, not at all. I'm a big fan of Brisbane Lions, and I've had them to win the flag before the season started to go back to back to back. I tipped them against Geelong, and I I'm not a fan of Geelong, and I think it's because they've been so good for so long. Missing finals twice in 21 years. Me being a Carlton supporter, we knocked them off in '95, so I've got that little bit of jealousy, of course. But no, it was really good. I like a lot of the Brisbane Lions players as well. So for them to give Geelong their first loss at GMHBA this season, I was a pretty happy boy.
All right, Toddy, to you. Brizzy gets the win. Should we be more worried about the Lions figuring it out, or have the Cats been figured out a little bit?
no, the Lions seem to do it every year. They sort of stumble at the start. They're real slow starters, and then mid-season, we've always ruled them out mid-season, and then they just go bang, 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 and they just hit some form. The players seem to gel and just sort of wake up, and the hangover goes away, and they just start winning games and winning games out of that midfield easy because they've got probably the best midfield in the comp.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just overall talent wise, 100%. Eggy to you here. It's like still interesting again. Brisbane starting to kind of figure it out.
Oh, they're just so strong through the midfield and just throughout the whole thing. They got it's like you watch Paddy Dangerfield. He's such at 35. He's so strong around the game. But it's like they got like five Paddy Dangerfields in their team. That they're all just so strong and just make their way through the game.
It's their depth, their
Yeah,
rotational ability. I mean, both the Ashcroft brothers. Again, McCluggage still isn't even there yet. That's the scary thing to think about. You've got Barry, you've got Barry, you've got Neil. Then think about it. Zach Bailey and Cam Rayna can run through the center if they really want to. Too, I think Zach Bailey is really caught fire over the last month or so he's starting to play some good footy. Their forward line is interesting because Hipwood coming in is kind of, I think, released a little bit. Like Kai Loman's playing well, Charlie Cameron's starting to figure it out. I mean, Logan Morris has been just an absolute find for the Brisbane Lions. So they're terrifying because
yeah.
they're not even at full strength. No Zorko, no McCluggage. Darcy Gardner goes down in this game, so we'll have to see how that kind of affects their backline. That's been their biggest issue this year is their backline can't stay healthy. So
No, they keep
Yeah.
just falling down,
yeah,
and
yep,
that's their one wood. But if you score more than the other team, I suppose you don't need it. They seem to
yep,
win it
yep.
out of the middle and don't need a back line.
Yeah, but they're gonna be fun. They're gonna be fun to watch. Terrifying for some of us that barrack for teams in and around them when it comes to the finals. So let's head to the
An
SCG.
interesting.
Go ahead.
So I was just going to say an interesting stat, Donny, as well is since 2023, Brisbane have played in three consecutive grand finals. This year will potentially be their fourth. From the last 8 rounds of every season since then, they've actually gone 6-2.
Mhm.
So just something to keep an eye on for the rest of this home and away season. If they go 6-2 again, well, you can pretty much guarantee that they'll win the grand final.
Yep. And then the question will be is who do they play? So, which
Yes.
Exactly.
is terrifying to think of. But again, what they're doing, what they've built is fantastic. I know all of the rules and everything like that. I think this draft is going to be one of the most craziest drafts ever, just because of all of the rule changes and the point changes. It's does my head in because the AFL is so quick to jump to conclusions, and we'll
Should have
let's
been a
not.
2-year lead-in
I'm
time.
Oh
I'm
no,
I'm loving it.
100%.
I'm loving it, and we've said that too. But I'm loving it because Taylor's sweating bullets because the young father son coming to Carlton, and Richmond are going to sweep in and steal him right from underneath. Taylor's sweating bullets.
I still think they'll get it, but the craziest part about it is that as happy as they are that they're winning, the problem is every time they win, they're making their off season a little bit more difficult because they potentially have to make a few trades to get the points to be able to do it.
They've
So
got to pay
it,
more now.
it is a weird dichotomy, and I know Taz is nodding his head because I know he agrees with me. It's a weird dichotomy because you want your team to win to make finals to potentially have that run, but if you make finals, it makes getting Walker that much more difficult. And
It
I think
makes it
that's,
harder.
oh yeah, 100% harder. And again, I'm not wishing it upon you, Taz. I'm not at all. Like, I love the father son. I think the father son is an absolutely magnificent rule. I just think the
Absolutely.
AFL has done this so many times is they jump at shadows because all of the Victorian teams, I know I have 3 Victorian fans. You guys, the Victorian media complained so much about what was happening at Gold Coast that you jumped at shadows, and now it's actually hurting you guys as well. It just makes me chuckle a little bit. This isn't me kicking you, so don't think of it that
No,
way.
no,
I'm just saying that as somebody that's heard this academy complaint so much, again, my argument is that for the betterment of the competition, these academies are necessary. Do I agree with how they were drafting when it comes to the points? Absolutely not. I think they needed to pay more. That is where
yeah.
I will agree with that argument. I don't think it should have been the discount that it was. That's what set up Gold Coast to do what they are. But then part of me is giggling that Gold Coast is absolutely falling on their face right now. So it's kind of even now. So.
I love the fact that Gold Coast pipped it because you got teams like Collingwood and Essendon that they sort of Carlton that they all flock to, and I loved
Yep.
it. Gold Coast
Yep.
were picking them up from underneath them.
Yep. Nope. So it's going to be interesting. So now that we've went on our rant, let's reel it in, fellas. But yeah, I love these cheeky conversations because I think they're absolutely magnificent. Let's head up to the SCG where the Swans get a win over the Western Bulldogs 90-55. And as the Swans man, I know some people are going, Donnie, what do you think? Well, this is safe to say. I kind of knew this was a potential for a win for the Swans because the doggies do not pressure. They just don't. They're not a pressure team. Their defenses have been in shambles for most of this year. I feel terrible for Buku Kamis because I swear every time they play a good offensive team, he is absolutely the first one that they go after because
Yeah.
he's not a one-on-one defender. He's not a number one defender. So him having to face Charlie Curnow and Charlie Curnow is starting to get his shit figured out is a scary thought process. And it played out in front of everybody. Joel Armani goes down with his AC with his Achilles tear, and McLean comes in and proves okay, maybe he should have been starting instead of either McDonald or Armani, which is an interesting conversation that I know some people had in the media had thrown out there. The scary part is again the Swans aren't healthy either. Tommy Papley still to come in. Braden Campbell hasn't played a single game this entire season. Um, Lewis
Goulden's
Milliken,
still
another
half
defender.
mast.
What was that?
Goulden's still half mast too. He's
Yeah,
still
I
getting
think.
warmed up.
Yep. Yeah, he still hasn't been the Goulden of old. So yeah, so it's very interesting for the Swans. Again, they get the win that they're supposed to. Was it impressive? At points, yes. This became kind of an ugly watch in the second half. It was not exactly the most fun. I think for either side. I think the dog both were having some issues when it comes to it. But Swans get a win. They get the 4 points that they need, and it gets them set up for a Titan clash that we will talk about a little bit later. But Eggy, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Dougie's Swans?
Oh, I think Brady Grundy just destroyed Tim English in the ruck. I think it was the game was Brady Grundy had 60 hitouts to Tim English's 8. I think Rory loved it, did a better job with 21. So that's where they're fast moving with the handballs. It's hard to keep up with them.
Well, English got demoted to the second half to backline. He had to
Yeah.
he tried to defend Kerno, and it didn't work. It didn't matter what the doggies tried to do. It just did not work. So Todd, we'll go to you. Your thoughts on the Swans doggies matchup?
Yeah, and I spoke about this a bit earlier. The defense really doesn't matter because Swans don't let you worry about defense. They kill you through the middle with that handball run, and if you put all your stars back to defense, they'll just go over the top of you. So you've sort of got to stop them in the midfield and off the half back. You can't wait to let it get that long.
Yep, nope, 100%. Taz, your thoughts on this one?
I've got a couple. I want to call out Callum Mills. His game was unreal. To have 26 disposals and disposal efficiency of 96%, for someone getting the ball as much as he did, I think that deserves to be called out because he just had an unreal game.
Yeah.
I've got, and this could be because I'm a Carlton supporter, but I've got my hesitations with Charlie, and I had them when he was at Carlton as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel he's a bit of a flat track bully. So when he does come up against the better quality sides, he tends to go missing. I hope that's not the case because Sydney have paid a lot to get him in the doors, but he does still add value. So he does allow McLean, Amadi, McDonald to have a bit more space. Because he takes the number one defender. But I feel like he's only really kicking bags against the lower tiered teams or the teams that are struggling in the defensive line.
Yep, nope, 100% understand that argument. I've said it on my podcast. I think the Swans paid too much for him. And that is me being personal. Like I said in the offseason, I love Charlie. I think Charlie's a great addition, but I would have preferred Jacob Wiedering or Kalwoki. I think we needed a fullback to be able to release Tommy McCartan to be a lot like what his brother was at the Swans, that intercepting Harris Andrews, Tom Stewart type of intercept defender. He doesn't have to worry about playing one-on-one and he can just go intercept the footy. He doesn't have to worry about taking a man because the way the Swans defensive structure was, it would have been perfect. So personally, that's what I would have done. But they decided they needed a full forward. So here we go, which is also leading to the discussion of, is Armadi going to take 1.2 and go somewhere else? What's going to happen? And then
I don't think he's
somebody say, well, why don't you go after McLean? He'll be half the price. Well, again, we'll have to see how that goes. But no, Swans did what they needed to do. Was it as impressive because of the opponent? Again, I think this is the doggy side. They just can't make up their fucking minds whether they want to be a good team or a bad team. They've got a
which
ton
we've
of
said for the
midfield.
last 10 years.
Yeah, well, they've got a ton of good midfield stars, but right now their defense is what's killing them. Their defense is what killing them because if they turn the footy over, they're absolutely just shambles in the back.
Yeah, they play sort of a high score footy. They've got to outscore you to win.
Yep,
There's no defense in that club at all.
Yep, they're helter skelter when it comes to it defensively. So let's hop over to Optus Stadium where the Crows get a nice 25-point win over the West Coast Eagles. I'm gonna start with you, Todd, on this one because I like the Crows. I think the Crows have a good build. I like West Coast. This game was a weird one for me because the Crows kind of took a nice little lead and then never really seemed threatened by this West Coast team. I'm not sure if this is one of those where Adelaide did what they needed to do, or West Coast just never really gave us that full-throated argument to challenge the Crows in this game.
Yeah, no, I thought West Coast were good, but they're still young. They're still coping. But Adelaide, yeah, I was expecting more out of Adelaide this week after the showdown, how they went down to Port Adelaide. I thought they were going to come out and absolutely annihilate Eagles. But Harley Reid, Dersma, they've got a couple of good first-round picks there. And I think Eagles are going to be scary in the next couple of years with their number one talent coming through there. And even, the forward, what's his name?
Cooper Duff Titler.
Tyler, there's another one there too. Shanahan?
Shanahan.
Yep, Joe Shanahan. Yep.
Joe Shanahan. I like how he flies at the ball and I like how he takes it overhead, and I think he's going to be scary in a couple of years.
All right. Taz, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I actually liked what the Eagles have been doing probably for the last 4 to 6 weeks now. They're not really getting blown out of the park like they were early in the season and last year. So I think there is significant improvement. And probably us being in Victoria, they probably don't get spoken about enough, West Coast. And when they do, they're always getting hammered. So I like what the Eagles are doing. They've got a young list, but they've got some of those mature heads that they brought across from Richmond as well. And you can see that actually starting to have an impact And something I've said on our podcast for quite a while now is Harley Reid and Willem Dersma are going to make such an amazing 1-2 punch through the midfield. It's really scary for clubs in the future.
Well, and I will say this: Cooper Duff Tytler could be the next Luke Jackson because he's got that sort of rap coming out of his 18-year-olds. So think about that. It's a little bit like Melbourne during their premiership years when they had Luke Jackson, Clayton Oliver, and Christian Petrarca. You've got that same sort of feel now that's starting. I think the spine of West Coast is really good. They just don't have that center half back, that intercepting center half back, and that small forward, that center that center half forward that I think could really make an impact to open up Waterman, Job Shannon, and some of them there. They've got their bookends. I think Cooper Duff Tyler through the center, Job Shannon and Ruben Jimby. They've got their bookends. They've got their midfield. I think they've got some pieces on the wing. It's that center section that they're missing of that spine. Once they get that, watch out. I think they're starting to build. So, Aggie, your thoughts on this one?
I really like Jordan Dawson. He's been so good around the midfield, and even Isaac Rankin. He has his hot and cold games, but it was definitely hot this one. And for the first year of the Lachlan McAndrew, he's been really a really great ruckman this year. I really like what he's putting out.
Yeah, no, he stepped in. The ruck rules have really benefited him out. It's another one of those swan cast off ruckmen that finds a way to be successful at another place. It's does my head in. Well, no, it's a laundry list. Toby Nankervis was a Swans ruck. Now he's at Richmond. Darcy Cameron at Collingwood. Lachlan McAndrew at Adelaide. Three starting ruckmen right now in the competition. All were with Sydney at one time and have moved on.
It actually happens a lot with ruckmen. They usually start their career at a club and usually always finish at another club, but play so much better. Jared Witts, he started at Collingwood from memory all those years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's kind of crazy, but I thought it was funny that there's three. There's three of them that all were under Sydney's watch at one time, and all three are playing for another club and playing well. So I thought that was quite interesting. Let's move to this one. I truly do not know what the hell I watched because I saw the quarter and halftime scores. It was just like what? Because I could not believe it. Melbourne get a win by 35, 125-90, but holy shit, Eggy, the runs in this game were insane.
They were like that first half was it 86-9. It was like one goal Hawthorn had kicked. Just Melbourne were all over them. They had no answers, but then until probably the last quarter, I think they kicked the last 12. Well, I think in the last third, the third end of the third, they kicked a couple, but yeah, it was the last 12 of the game, except for the last couple. Actually, I think Jacob Ben Ryan sealed the deal.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was a great game.
It was a 35-point win, but really, for the most part, this was like an over 60-point lead. Todd, I'll go to you on this one. Again, this came out of nowhere for me purely because, I mean, Hawks have always been great down in Tassie, no matter where they play. So this was a stunner.
Well, that breaks a 12 straight winning streak in Tassie. They just don't lose down there. And that's what I find great about our game, though. Most professional sports would give up at that point, but then Hawthorn go on like a 12-goal run and nearly pull one out of the bag, just get the momentum and charge home. And you're never out of it in football these days.
Yeah. Tazzy, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it was definitely a tale of two halves. And I actually caught myself. I was doing food prep watching this game. I actually caught myself cheering Hawthorn home. I really wanted them to get up and get over because it would have been just such an amazing win. And I don't know if a win like that, being down by 80 or odd points, has ever happened in the history of the game. I think it just would have been unreal.
Yeah, it would have been insane. It would have been the first thing that AFL 360 and then would have talked about is this miraculous comeback. So falls a little bit short. And the one thing it does though is it takes off the stigma of Melbourne can't win outside of the MCG, which I think is very interesting. And I said in our podcast that Melbourne needs to do it at least once or twice just to give them the confidence to be able to know that if in finals they have to hop on a plane and go interstate, that they can and they can win.
They can do it.
Because if they can't outside the MCG, it makes for a very difficult finals if you're having to go on the road to try to advance in the finals situation. Let's go to the other stunner. And this one, some people called it. I didn't because I just, this Giants team is Jekyll and Hyde to a point that really frustrates the shit out of me because you have the Brisbane Lions destruction a few weeks ago where they score 86 points in the third quarter. But then you have games where they just play, let's just be honest, they played like shithouse. They were absolute shithouse in a couple of these games. So this result here just keeps the confusion going as they get a 21-point win over Fremantle, ending the win streak 109-88. There's a weird part of me, Taz, I'll go to this. There's a weird part of me that goes, if I'm a Fremantle Dockers fan, I don't mind this. The streak is done. You can get shit settled, and you come home and you get the Swans, the best team on the ladder next to you, and you have some motivation because the streak is gone.
Yeah, there's two ways I look at it. It's the loss that needed to happen because if they continued the streak right through until final start, they could go out in straight sets. They get to reload, hit the Swans, another quality team. I am not on the Fremantle bandwagon yet. I think next year is when they'll really give the premiership a hard hit. But I actually don't think that they will make the grand final this year. And I know that's a controversial opinion because of the form that they're in. But yeah, I still think it's going to be a Brisbane Hawthorn grand final. But GWS just remind me of the Dogs. 1 week they're on, 1 week they're off.
Yep. Nope. Not gonna argue with you on that. So, and I know the statistics. Iggy, I'll go to you with this. The statistics say Fremantle should make the grand final, but this is an interesting one again. A Jekyll and Hyde team beating you. I mean, does this shake the Dockers' confidence a little bit?
It has to shake it a little bit, but like in GWS, their backline's so strong. Like you got Whitfield, you got Lockie Ash, you've even got Connor Idens really stepped up this year, the last few games since he come back from injury. But and then Jake Stringer comes out and pulls seven goals up forward. Like that they got all the pieces there. They're just got to put that puzzle together.
Yeah,
so
the package.
they did.
Go ahead.
The package, yeah.
The package doing package things. So one game he kicks 7, the next game he's like an apparition. You don't know where he is. So.
You can tell it's out of contract at the end of the year.
Exactly. I said one thing. I said GWS should literally just put a thing and go, you have a 1-year contract from now on.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Because
he seems to just last year of the contract, it's just you want to give him 1.1 million, but then you give him a 2-year deal and the first year's no good again.
Yeah, the first year he's worth about $250.
Yeah.
And then the second year he's worth the other part of the 1.1 million. That's I've said it. The GWS should just literally just keep handing this dude a 1-year contract because for some weird reason that's the only thing that seems to motivate him. I don't know why. It just doesn't make any sense. But if he's on anything other than a 1-year contract, that whatever year that he's not in a contract discussions, he plays like absolute horse shit. It's I don't know
off.
what it is. So
yeah.
Todd will go
he's
to
done
you.
It his whole career.
We'll go to you. Can this spark GWS to get their shit together, start playing more consistent footy, and be a threat come finals time?
Well, I don't think so because of the Tom Green missing. I think they're missing Tom Green a heap, and just the injuries they've had this year and the inconsistency in their team. But I think they're really missing Tom Green in there. I know Toby Green come in, but then you lose him forward. You lose him forward of the ball. So I think they're still going to be hit and miss until they get a bit more stability in that team.
Well, I think Clayton Oliver has kind of filled that role, but not fully. I mean, Clayton Oliver's still kind of inconsistent. I've never been a huge Clayton Oliver fan. I think he's a disposal machine, but his disposal is not very good. I think Tom Green is much more consistent with that. So Oliver's kind of filled that role, but he's like 50% of that role. There's still some things that Tom Green does that Clayton Oliver has just never been good at. So
it's just can't do, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. He's a disposal machine, but after that, there really isn't much impact that I find him to be effective at. But that's just me personally. So let's move on to People's First Stadium, and I know Eggy's going to grin like a Cheshire cat as his Collingwood Magpies get a win 104-98. I said this was going to happen. I am loving it because seeing Dema Hardwick pull his hair out, whinge, sook, and do everything because pardon my French, fellas, the cocky bastard came up to Gold Coast, and I think he just expected everything to go his way. And he's starting to see the problem with the way Gold Coast is structured is that there's a ton of superstar talent, but there is no mongrel, yes
Role
man,
player.
do it type of player. And I think he's learning that you need those. And the problem is he just let some of them go in in the last listing. So it's almost funny to watch him be the purveyor of his own downfall. So, Eggy, I'll go to you. I know you're enjoying the Pies getting a win on the road, looking fantastic again. Nick Takos, the little magician, doing it again.
He's a magician. He'd have to be one of my favorite players. But yeah, like Brandon Maynard he really had a good game too. There's a bit of controversy in the middle there, but after that second half, he really had a point to prove. And just the whole youngness around, like a few young guns coming in and Pendlebury going out, they really stood up and they quite surprised me. I actually thought we were going to lose, but they surprised me and they come out fighting and they threw everything they had at it.
All right, Taz, I know it's not easy. Are we going to give Collingwood some credit for getting a win on the road, or is this more of Gold Coast absolutely shitting the bed?
No, I don't mind the Pies. Todd hates them. I don't mind the Pies though. I think I really, really like watching Nick Dacos. I think his resume for a 23-year-old is just unbelievable. And we actually had a Nick Dacos post up on our socials over the weekend, and I think we've nearly exceeded 100,000 views. And the comments are so mixed. It's incredible. If you get a chance, Donnie, have a look because the comments are just chalk and cheese. You love him or you hate him. It's unbelievable.
He's like the Pies.
He is. I think, yeah, you're right about Dimmer Hardwick, and I think he's starting to cop a lot of attention now as well, because when he first got to the Suns, he said that 80% of the premiership side was in that room. Well, there's talk of 5 or 6 of them leaving at the end of the year. So, yeah, it's interesting.
I roasted him so bad on my podcast for it. I said, what drugs are, I literally, I remember saying, I said, what drugs is he on? Because I want to have some, because he's living in delusional land if he thinks that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're in delusion if you believe you're going to, 80% of your premiership side is in a team that at the time when he took over hadn't made finals yet. Okay. I know they made finals last year. Congratulations. David Swallow, who's no longer with the team anymore, is the reason that you won. So how does that tell you? But again, like I said, they took away their middleman, the utility guy. They don't have those. They either have superstar talent or guys that still haven't made a premiere in the AFL, so we don't really know what they are. That's the frustrating. So Todd, I'll let you have some fun with this. I know as the anti-Pies guy, but this is a weird one because it's kind of a fun hate watch because you don't like either team.
No, I'm a big Gold Coast fan because I'm a massive Matt Rao fan since he's come into the comp. He was actually my favourite player for a bit there, and I followed him. I've actually got a Matt Rao jersey being a North, and that's a bit weird. I've got a Gold Coast with an 18 on it. But I actually don't hate the Pies. My old man's a Pie. I just do it for more clout on the show because it gets a bit more interaction if you fire up the Pie supporters.
Background secrets. No, it's
Yeah.
I've said it like this. I respect the Pies because the history, the everything that they do. I respect Nick Dacos. I think he's an incredible player. Again, you just don't have the talent that he has. Do I like them? No. Do I respect them? Yes. That's the way I say it. And it's nothing against you, Aggie. It is nothing against you, but it really is like I'll pull the American out of me. It's like the Collingwood Magpies are like the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Yankees. You either love them or you hate them. It's how I describe the Magpies to American fans up here. I said it's very, very simple. There is no middle ground with Collingwood. You either love them or you hate them. There is no 50-50. Very rarely are you going to so.
It's because they're the big boys that everyone's chasing. Like they're
Exactly.
the top. They've got the most fans, so everyone's like, no, get behind everyone else who's playing them.
Yep. Nope.
But I think it's their fans that actually give them that reputation, and not so much Eggy. So Eggy and Brozza are not like this, but they're just about every other Collingwood supporter that I've actually interacted with. They've got the arrogance about them, but they're also very, very defensive about the club. You cannot say anything
negative No,
flights, and they're very, very, as we call on the show, very biased towards their club.
very true. Good point. That's a good one. And again, I have no problem with it. I have friends in every single club, and I respect every single club. I cover it. I've joked numerous times. I said there are times I wish I never picked a club because it does make you look at the game a little bit different because you have that team that's yours, and
Yeah.
then everybody else is kind of so trying to keep yourself as unbiased as possible. Sometimes it's not easy. It is not easy. But again, I respect the Pies. I love Fly. I think Fly is awesome. I think Fly got a little cocky there for a little bit. It's kind of gotten out of him a little bit now that he started to have some um, adversity. And you're starting to see Fly kind of be Fly again, which I kind of appreciate. Back your club, back your style, and go for it. And I kind of appreciate it. I'm just very interested, and I can't wait for my burning questions because I'm really interested on how Eggy's going to respond to it. But we'll save that for a little bit. Let's move on to it. Taz, again, let's let you have your Carlton moment again. 7 in a row, getting the win over Richmond. But I mean, did we get to squeaky bum time with this one? Because again, this upstart Richmond Tigers team that cannot stay healthy. I mean, I swear that they're going to open up a hospital ward with all the injuries that they have. You get a 2-point win over the Tigers, 74-72.
Should have been 7 points because that free kick at the end was a joke, but that happens in football, but it's
Yes,
part
it
of it.
does.
What I'm loving is seeing Jagger Smith play full-time minutes in the midfield. I don't know why Voss wasn't doing that beforehand. He to me, and again, this is probably me being biased, I think he's got the rising star sewn up. He's just dominated the last 7 games since going into the middle. Huge amount of respect for Tigers, though. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of young kids coming through that have so much talent, very similar to the Eagles. I think that if they can all stick with it and stick together, they're definitely going to be a force. The difference I see with, say, Tigers and Gold Coast is, like we mentioned, Gold Coast don't have role players. Tigers do. And that's where I think that's going to hold them in a good position.
Yep. Nope. I really hope they can get Josh Smiley healthy because everything that I've heard when he can play is an incredibly good player, but
Same as Gibcus.
they just can't get him healthy. They just have to get him healthy. If they can get him healthy, watch out. Like I said, I have never blamed Uze for any of this because he has literally no control over it. And the people that are saying, well, maybe Uze isn't the right job. When has Uze actually had a full list? Please tell me. Because in the 2 years
And
that he's been there, he has not. And let's just be 100% honest on that. So what
and
Uze is
also,
doing is incredible because he's trying to hold together a team with every adhesive he can possibly think of.
yeah, 100%. And when you look at a lot, like nearly every single club over the years, when a club's going through a rebuild with a certain coach, very like 9 times out of 10, that coach is not going to be their premiership coach.
Yep. Yep. 100% on that. Todd, we'll go to you on this one again. Is it interesting watching the Blues train get going? It's 7 in a row now.
Yeah, we have a bit of a discussion about this because it was pretty easy 7. Like the only real tough one's Geelong, but their test will come. They've got a hard run, but me and Eggy are silently praying that they don't because we want that final spot. But I'll put a question to you. Josh Fraser, is he the man for the job? Because I seem to think you can't change coach now. He's on fire. And Taz seems to think, no, he's not the man.
It'll be interesting. Aggie to you again. It's very interesting again. The Carlton boys 7 in a row now.
They have a bit of pride about it. Like earlier on in the season, they would just when they get behind, they just sort of drop their heads and just let them get right over the top. But then yeah, Richmond got the jump on them and they're able to fight it back. I know they come down late. They got close again, but it's just these two teams. They always seem to have close games. Like even in round one, I think there was only 4 points in it. Last year, I think Richmond got the win. This must be the round one rivalry, the first game of the season. It just they always come together and it's always a close one. So it doesn't matter where they stand on the ladder.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Let's move to the next one. Oh, let's just be real quick on this one. I don't want to talk about this because this is just getting ridiculous at this point. St. Kilda win what is a glorified training run. 117 to 50, 67 point win. Eggy really quickly. I mean, I almost agree with some of these announcers. I mean, is Essendon regressing?
They are. They are. They've been very abysmal of late, and yeah, St Kilda look pretty good. They're hit and miss as well, but Naz is really good to watch. I really enjoy watching him.
Todd, are they regressing?
Yeah, I think they are, and it's a pity too because my local hometown boy, Sammy Durham, he comes from my town. He's on Essendon, and we like to see him succeed a bit, but they just seem to be going backwards, and they're going to have a mass exit again this year, I think.
Taz, to you, are they regressing?
Crisis mode. That's all I have to say.
I mean, I again, St. Kilda did what they needed to do. Let's just be honest. They did what they needed to do. I'm happy that they got the win. Naz was fantastic, but I can't, I feel so horrible for the Essendon fans because they have to go through this and so much discussion about so little. And it's very, very frustrating because
I actually feel sorry for Mary.
oh yeah. Well, I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for Mary because I think he put the club in a situation and the club stood for something. They just stood on the wrong side. And I think that's the thing. Like I kind of respected the club for telling Merritt, hey, nope, you've got a contract, you're playing for us. Again, hindsight's 2020. It's easy to say, well, they should have took it. If you really look at it, they weren't getting a ton from what Hawthorn was offering. I love Harry Hustwaite is a great utility player, but that's about it. And then 3 late first round picks. What really is that gaining you? It's really not getting the total value. Now, it's looking like an absolute haul now that Zach Merritt is
Yeah.
And
after the
he's gonna
season,
pretty much walk.
pretty much. But at the time, I kind of respected Essendon for telling the hey, buck it up, Bucko. You're staying here. Like I kind of respected that. Again, hindsight's 2020. So we'll see. Let's move. Let's move on. Unfortunately, Todd, Taz, and Eggy celebrate wins. Todd, unfortunately, not so much as Port Adelaide get a 21-point win. I'll let you have the floor, sir. Your thoughts on your Rouge falling short at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of getting a bit used to being by him, but it was again the commentary was horrendous. The free kick count was horrendous. There was 71 free kicks, and Port Adelaide kicked 73 points. Like it was horrendous both ways. But every time there was a bit of open play, it got brought back with a whistle. And I just hope they can fight back against Collingwood this week and show a bit more, and hopefully hold on to that 10th spot or get back into that 10th spot.
Taz will go to you. Port get a nice win to keep their chances of finals alive, and unfortunately, North may be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's look, it is sad with the free kick count nearly top scores for the whole game. You know, Port winning was 73 and there were 71 free kicks. but no, it was good. North Melbourne, similar to Gold Coast, I think they have these really, really, really good players, but they just haven't got the crop to take them up to that next level yet.
Yep. Eggy, your thoughts on this again? Let's step away from North just a little bit. Let's go to Port again. Josh Carr is decent, but it's kind of getting annoying. All the Josh Butters talk, the Zach Butters talk.
It is getting annoying. Like where is he going and that? But they look good. They look really good. Even with Sweet and the Rucky looks really good too. But what I didn't like was the umpiring. Like those free kicks. Like every time we saw a bit of momentum, it just got shut down. That was it for both ways, and it couldn't get momentum around the game. And it was a really hard watch.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Unfortunately, and the problem is that they're going to focus on the umpires. And let's potentially go to 3. It's just it's never going to be perfect, ladies and gentlemen. We just have to accept that. But the problem that you're going to run into, and this is just my personal thought on this, fellas. You can tell me if I'm off on this. It's never going to be perfect because you can't suffice everybody because we've seen it. I think we've discussed it pre-Mike is that if you don't call some of these free kicks, then people are bitching about not getting free kick calls. But when you call them, then you get games like this where you have 71 free kicks. It's like you got to make up your mind what you're going to do and what you're not. It's either these free kicks are there and they have to be called, which again, it's pretty self-explanatory, or you let them go, but then you're going to have people online with huge discourse and then they show one free kick that was missed and complain up to high heaven. So it's a no-win situation for the umpires. Again, I've umpired this game over here in the States. It is not fun. Not only are you running your absolute balls off, but then you have to try to make quick second decisions. And I'm not even refereeing elite athletes like the AFL. So
Yeah.
it's just a no-win situation either way, because if we make the adjustment that somebody's like, there's too many free kicks. Well, if they're there, they're there. We have to call them, because if you don't call them, then more hell breaks loose. So
Yeah,
like it's a very edge of a knife here. Like we got to make up our minds. Are we going to allow for a few to be missed to keep the game flowing, or are we going to call it directly as the laws say?
down
Does
the
that make
line.
any sense?
And it makes it hard too because they change the rules every year. Like I think it's the most
The other
over
problem I
rule
have.
change league ever in existence. Because there's at least 4 or 5 rule changes a year every year, and even some during the season as well.
They should just
That
leave it.
that is my biggest issue that I have. Make a set of rules, stay with them, make notes, make notes, make notes. At the end of the year, what rules need to be fixed, change them, implement them in the preseason, run it back. Do not make changes in the center in the middle of the season, because it just makes it that much more confusing. Like, case in point, Clarkson complaining about the no holding the ball is, and then all of a sudden the holding the ball rule changed in the middle
Yeah,
of the
Mhm.
season, and it did my freaking head in, because oh my god, Clarkson speaks about it. We must change.
and the players got used to oh, I can get away with this, and then now all of a sudden, oh, I can't get away with this. So they're
Yep.
used to playing this style in the first half of the season, and
Yep.
now they've got to play a different way in the second
Yep.
half.
Yeah.
Nope. Keep it consistent through the entire season and make notes from it. That's the only way to fix it, because if you're constantly changing it, the players are constantly going, what? And I love these elite athletes, but letting them think is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's not smart
Just
idea.
let them play. They'll figure it out eventually. They'll figure it out. You just have to let them play. So, and I think that's the frustrating part. So we could go on that for days, because
Yeah,
again, it is such a gray area when it comes to footy umpiring. I agree with it. This is probably one of the most difficult sports to umpire, because there's so much subjective thought process to it, that it is, how do I as an umpire think? That's different than what Taz thinks. That's different what Todd thinks. That's different what Eggy thinks. We could say holding the ball rule right now, and we might have 4 different answers. And that's the
yeah.
that's the craziest thing about the gray that is the laws of AFL. So of footy. So sorry, I don't want to. There's a Twitter account that goes after people. Don't call it AFL. It's Aussie rules. Yeah, I get it. I know.
No, it's
Sometimes
AFL.
it's a slip. Okay, sometimes it's a slip.
Yeah.
So that is all 9 games. Again, having 9 games is fantastic. Absolutely love it. Makes for fun weekends for me, but absolutely do it. So, all right. So we next part of the podcast for me is my burning questions. These are some questions that I've been thinking about over the weekend. And since I have 3 fans of 3 different clubs, I'm going to do a question to each of you about your club. So let's start off, Eggy. We will start with you as the Pies man that you are. The Pies are still fighting for that final spot in the finals. Is there any worry in Pies Nation that you miss finals?
This is a big worry, really. There's 7 games left. I reckon we need to win at least 3 to try and make it in the top 10. But me personally, I think we drop probably 5 of them. And I think even West Coast is a tough ass. I think we beat North Melbourne, but Carlton's the coin flip. But I don't see us beating Adelaide, Geelong, Hawthorn, or Brisbane. So I think we're going to miss out again this year.
Okay, really quick question without notice, because I haven't had a Pies person on since Pendles broke the record. I want to ask this because this has been on me, and I really want to ask. Will you be upset at the club for resting Pendles in a couple of games you probably could have won if you miss finals?
Yes, because no doubt he won't go to West Coast.
I'm just I may send it to you guys. My friend Craig Wessels, Yank on a Footy, went on a rant saying he would never tip the Pies, because the Pies didn't tip the Pies because they gave up a couple of games just to be sure the Pendles could have it at home. And it was the most, I absolutely cracked up laughing because he literally has stayed on it. He has not tipped the pies. He tipped the pies against West Coast in that game. He tipped the pies against Essendon when they played each other. Since then, he is full on gone on it. And it is nothing personal to you and the pies, but it's just the club made a decision that I agree. I think they're going to rue it eventually because I think they would have made finals if they would have structured it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But again, personal opinion. Again, congratulations to Pendle's incredible career. This is not mad at him. I'm just more like I think they were so worried about doing it for him that they kind
Yeah.
of forgot about the season a little bit. So
and
They
dropped a
almost dropped
few
that
games.
same game. They almost dropped that same game, the West Coast game. It was so close.
I was laughing my ass off because
This
I
is
literally said, I said, if they lose to West Coast, they're going to look like absolute Muppets and it's going to be glorious. And that's again, it's at the club. That's not on the fans or the players. That's on the club for making that decision. So, all right, Todd, we'll go to you. The road home for the Roos is very difficult. I'll ask this: if they miss finals, is this another failed season?
No, well, I reckon they've already had a pass mark this season because they've struggled to get over 4 wins a season. They've had a 2 win season, two-win seasons, and a five, I think, last year. So they've already won 8 or 9 this season. I don't know how many games they've won, but I think it's 9 games this season. I think we can pick the Pies next week. I'm hoping we can pick the Pies next week. We're going to go to that game, I think, me and a couple of the boys. But after that, I don't see us winning another game. Your mob's going to destroy us in the last round. I think Cats are going to be too good. Hawthorn. Bulldogs, maybe. Depends what Bulldogs side rocks up. But I think we've already passed. I've already seen more wins this season than I've seen the last three. So I'm happy enough with the season.
Okay. I was very interesting because I know some people started to kind of think, oh, there's a possibility for finals this year. So I was very fascinated on Aru's thought process when it comes to that. And Taz, I think you have probably been on the biggest roller coaster of a season ever. So they're on a magnificent run with 7 in a row. How crazy has this season been to experience of the doldrums of the Voss days and now the highs of 7 in a row?
Yeah, very confusing. It just goes to show that they've had it there the whole time, which we kind of knew from looking back at 2023 when we got on a similar roll after that three quarters of the way or halfway through that Gold Coast game. And then it all just fell apart. So it's good to see Fraser come in and release the pressure valve. I don't think the boys are feeling like they're going to get in trouble if or there's going to be massive consequences if they miss a target, for example. And I think that was playing on them. I really do, because now that they're playing with yes freedom, but probably more so the fact they understand that mistakes are going to happen. They're playing good footy.
Nope, not yeah. They've been fun. They've been fun to watch and seeing the Blues fans that I know of get up and about and excited. I think this time, unlike a few years where they started to kind of go a little bit overboard, like we're going to the finals, we're going to we have a chance to win a premiership. There's almost this there's hesitance of we're winning games. It's great. We're winning games. We might make finals. Like it's been a slow progression of the excitement, and it's been so much fun to watch because again, such a great old club with so much history. So it's great to see those fans because again, so many years of absolute shithouse footy to have that opportunity to get excited about something, I think is magnificent. So,
It
fellas,
is good. We've got the third hardest run home, though. Collingwood have got the fifth, and North have got the hardest. So, out of our three clubs, whoever's going to sneak into the ninth or 10th spots, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. I think that spots for 9th and 10th are going to be so much fun to watch because now that the wild card, am I a huge fan of the wild card? No, I think it's rewarding mediocrity until you get 20 teams in. It doesn't make sense to have 10 in and 8 out. It just doesn't personally. But again, it's for some weird reason they follow some of the American sports over here.
You can have a losing record this year and still make finals.
Still make finals, yep. And we've had it up here with some of the baseball teams. We've had teams make it. We won't go there. But it's going to make it interesting. But it also, for me, I agree with it. If you finish 7th through 10th, there's no way you're winning the Premiership because you have to win 5 games. and the top four could only play three. So
Well, they
it's
get a rest, yeah. Get a
yeah,
rest, and you've got to play an extra round of footy.
yep. So I just
You might even get two rests.
yeah, I have a hard time seeing 7 through 10 win a premiership from now on. The way this thing is built, it's sad, but I think it's the way of life. So that is it for my burning questions. Again, thank you, fellas, for letting me to let me ask those questions. I'm always interested to see how fans think of their clubs. So I'm going to take over the podcast just a little bit, and I'll kind of explain to you. I don't know how much you guys have watched the show, as I do team of the week and power rankings, to kind of say how things went. With my team of the week, I tend to lean a little bit more towards score involvements and impact on the scoreboard. So you may hear a few names that are going to not make a little bit of sense, but that's kind of explaining why. So we will start off. For me, I've coached a little bit, so I always start off on the defensive end. So we'll start at the fullback on the fullback line. Brendan Starcevich of the West Coast Eagles kicking a goal is first for the West Coast Eagles. Got to give him a run there. As was said earlier, Cal Mills of the Sydney Swans, another fantastic game for the Swannies back there. And Melbourne's CJ Chenkuk Jath is the last on the fullback line. Along the halfback line, we have Zeke Euland of the West Coast Eagles, Bailey Dale of the Western Bulldogs, and Colby McKercher of the North Melbourne Kangaroos. In the center, in the ruck, we have Rowan Marshall of the St. Kilda Saints. Out on the wings, we have Zach Bailey of the Brisbane Lions and Ollie Dempsey of the Geelong Cats. In the center, we have Josh Ward of the Hawthorn Hawks, George Hewitt of the Carlton Blues, and Nasiah Wanganeen Miller of the St. Kilda Saints round out the center of the ground. Along the half forward line, we have Jacob Van Ruin of the Melbourne Demons, Geelong's Patrick Dangerfield, and Brisbane's Kai Lohman will round out the half forward line, where we have the package, Jake Stringer of GWS, Charlie Colonel of the Sydney Swans, and Marbio Chol of the Hawthorn Hawks round out my starters. On my bench, I have one of each position: defender, ruck, midfielder, forward, and then a utility. Any player that I feel kind of needs a little bit of love when it comes to it, and he'll hop on as that fifth person on the bench. My defender is Ed Langdon of the Melbourne Demons. My midfielder is Collingwood's Nick Davis, Nick Dacos. Blah, 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 wrong one. Sorry. I apologize on that. A little bit of the 2000 the Sydney Swans brain there. Apologize on that. My ruck is Luke Jackson of the Fremantle Dockers. My forward is Melbourne's Bailey Fritsch, and my utility is Richmond's Seth Campbell. I know it's a lot of names. Really quickly, fellas, I'll leave it up to you. Thoughts on team of the week? I'll just open it up. Whoever wants to answer that one.
Who's going? I'll take over. No, it's a good started lineup there. The ruck. I'm a huge Marshall fan, and I think he dominate. I think they need to get rid of TDK and just play him one out. I think he's a star, and that forward line looks elite. And the halfback, a lot of run off that, heap of run off that halfback.
Yeah. Yep. Daz, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Yeah, no.
It's interesting. I've had some people when I've done it, they'd be like, "Well, why don't you put this person in?" And I go, "If you want to have a discussion, that's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it." And that's why I say what I say. My favorite is when I put it out when I was putting it out there for a while. I'm like, "This is shit house. Why? Tell me.
Yeah,
I want to know." And then
give
they
me
kind
an
of go,
explanation.
I'm like, I'm not here for name callings, dude. I want to have a discussion. Please come with the discussion. If you're just going to call me names, I'm just going to ignore you because you're not actually here. You just want to be a dickhead.
Yeah.
So
It's like the Nick Dacos post we had. You know, a lot of the comments call him a seagull and everything. And it's like, well, hang on, he actually does get contested possessions, but also you need those types of players in your side. So, and what's it matter? How does it how does it affect things?
not everybody's a Libba. Not everybody's a Libba, and not
That's
everybody's a Nick Dacos. Like let him be him. If he's going to do it his way, that's perfectly fine. Do I think he's a contested beast? Absolutely not. Do I think he can win a contested footy? Absolutely. The guy has a great footy mind. Like there's no argument on that. But again, I think it's a little bit of the pie tax. A little bit. If he was wearing a Blues jumper or a North jumper, I don't think there would be as much vitriol. But it's the fact that he's wearing the black and white. He pays a pie tax. So, Eggy, really quickly on that. I know it's weird to have Nick Dacos on the bench, but it was a star-studded midfield.
It was. But the only thing I would have changed, if it was team of the year, I would have had Luke Jackson. But team of the week, I would have had Max Gawn over Luke Jackson.
Yep, no, 100%. It's just more of Rowan Marshall kicked two, Luke Jackson both kicked two, but Rowan Marshall had a little bit more of an impact all around. So that's why that right now, if you were to twist my arm and say who's my ruck for my All Australian, Luke Jackson by the Flemington Straight. Let's just be honest. Luke
100%.
Jackson has been incredible. I would love, and I've heard this thrown out there, is that could they find a way to get three rucks in, move Jackson to like a rover, and then have Grundy and Gone as your two rotating rucks, and have Jackson almost as a midfielder, because if you look at Jackson's numbers, he's just as good a midfielder as he is a ruck. So
Well, he has
it's
been playing a bit of midfield time too.
yep. And it's interesting to see the discussion of who's his better running mate. Is it Darcy or is it Cox?
Hmm.
So it's been an interesting discussion there for a while. I thought Darcy was screwed. I thought Darcy was going to go on the road of the Riley O'Briens and some of these rucks that the new rules just do not fit them. Jared Witts, that was the other one I was thinking of. The new rules just do not fit them because
Not the
they're
big
not
style ruckman.
they're not jumpers. They're just not that athletic overall as some of these. So, but he's come in and done decent. I still think Cox. I think Cox was the better for me personally because it leaves a little bit more athleticism on the field. But again, we'll have to
And he
see.
can go forward too. He can take a
Yep,
mark and kick a goal, whereas Darcy sort of struggles forward with the ball.
yep. Which I think then that impedes Jackson a little bit for me personally. That's why I thought Cox was a better moment on that. No, I'm 100% with you. And then my power rankings is a little bit of homage to the start of the podcast, The Fourth and Long, where he would always do power rankings for everything. But I do it with a little bit of a twist, which is always so much fun. I do it as the last 5 rounds. So I go, what's your form line? How's your last 5 rounds? So I'm interested to see what you guys think of this because there's going to be a little bit of a shocker here. Okay. We'll start off at 5, the Sydney Swans. At 4, the Adelaide Crows. At 3, the Collingwood Magpies. At 2, the Brisbane Lions. And at 1, 7 in a row, the Carlton Blues. So everybody's thinking, where's Fremantle? Well, they lost their last game.
They've
That's the
just
last
dumped one.
one. And the 5, you have to drop them out. They haven't won any games in a row. Their last one was a loss. I know it's weird, 14 in a row. You lose one, you're completely out. But when you have win streaks from some of the other teams, that's just kind of the way it goes. So they'll be back. I know they'll be back, but it was just
I
very
think they'll
interesting.
charge home now too. I don't think they'll lose
It'll be
another one.
interesting. This week is actually a great transition because I always end my episode tipping the next round. I know we're still early. I know injury report, everything like that. So bear with me, fellas. We'll get through this. Let's tip round 18, and we get a Titan matchup to start our round. Thursday, 1v2, Fremantle, Sydney. Eggy, we'll start with you. Who do you think gets the chalkies in this top of the table matchup?
Sydney. I don't know why, just feeling it. I'm on the board for Sydney. They're going to lose to an away, Prio.
All right. Toddy, who do you think? Fremantle,
I've
Sydney.
I've only got Freo because it's over in Optus. If it was in Sydney, I'd have Sydney.
Okay. Taz.
No, I've got Swans. I've got the wheels falling off Fremantle.
And here's my favorite part. I'm going to tip Fremantle because I always tend to do this, and this is the weird explanation that I have for it. People's like, you're a Swans fan, why? Because now I have a no lose situation. Because if I tip Fremantle and Fremantle win, I get the tip right. If I miss the tip, guess what? My team wins. So it's a no lose situation. It's so much
I
fun.
was like that last year.
I catch a lot of people with that one on that one. I'm tipping Fremantle. It's a lot like Todd. It's at an Optus Stadium. If it was at Sydney, I'd lean a little bit more at this once because they have played so well at the SCG. But this is at Optus Stadium. But Sydney has traveled to Optus Stadium quite well over the last few years. They've gotten a lot of wins over in the West, and already did earlier this year against the West Coast. Now it's West Coast, not Fremantle, so a little bit of a different situation. But tipping Fremantle, the loss to GWS is what scares me because will you get an inspired Fremantle coming off a loss? So that's why I
And
kind
that's
of
when they just pump hard the next week.
Yep, nope, 100% on that one. Let's go to Friday night footy where we see two of our co-hosts locking horns. We'll start off. Todd, we'll start with you. Pies, Roos. Can the Roo boys get it done?
I have not once tipped against North Melbourne, so I'm not going to start now. I'm the opposite. I can't tip against my team. I know they're not going to win, and this is why I lose footy tipping comps because I normally go like I've been going 2-16 with North. But no, I think it's 50-50. I don't think it's a bigger difference as people think. So I'm going North.
All right, Eggy. Contrary. Pies. Ruse. Can the Pies get it done?
I think so. If they come out firing like last weekend, I'm pretty excited to see them get it done.
All right, Taz. You're the tiebreaker vote here. Who do you got?
I've tipped the draw. No, I'm joking.
That would be hilarious if you did.
I think Pies will get over North just because I think they've got a bit more experience, and North look like they're sort of running out of legs a bit.
I will say this, being at Marvel, I think evens this game up a little bit more than if it was at the G, like legitimately, because I think Marvel shrinks the crowd, doesn't give a huge advantage to the Collingwood Army, which I think really does inspire the Pies late in games sometimes when they have 70, 80,000 behind them. Being at Marvel, a little bit smaller state, a little bit smaller, a little more intimate. You better chance of probably maybe a 50-50 crowd when it comes to it. Depends on how North comes out. Tipping Pies in this one because you have the Nick Dacos, you have the Josh Dacos, you have some of the experience there. Braden Maynard playing, I think, helps. I think if Maynard is out, I think that really gives North a lift. Going to tip the Pies in this one. But I'm going to tell you this, Todd. It will not shock me if North pull this off because Collingwood has been too damn inconsistent for me. They're not putting footy games, they're not stacking good footy together enough for me. So tipping Pies, but thinking Roos are going to have a crack in this one. Staying at Marvel Stadium, we'll start off with St. Kilda versus Port Adelaide. Taz, we'll start with you. St. Kilda now gets a team that's actually going to play some defense. Port Adelaide playing a team that's a little bit better than the team they did. Who finds a way to win this one?
I think Saints do. Port have been pretty disappointing this year. Yes, they've hit some form late, but I still think Saints get the job done.
All right, Todd, your thoughts on this one? St. Kilda, Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I've got St Kilda too. I think they're too quick, and as long as they play their attacking style footy and not that defensive stuff they were dishing up last year and the start of this year.
Yep, Aggie.
I've got St Kilda. I actually got them upsetting all of us and taking our 10th spot. So
I have the Saints as well. Again, on the road, Optus State. If this was at Adelaide, I might tip Port on this one. But under the roof, Marvel, St. Kilda playing well, liking Marshall the way it is. I think Marshall Sweet's going to be a fun matchup on that one. Tipping Saints on this one. GWS versus Geelong at NG Stadium. Eggy, we'll start with you. Jekyll and Hyde, Giants, Cats needing a win. Who finds a way to get the 4 points?
I think Geelong bounce back and get the win.
Daz?
Yeah, I think Cats and GWS. They're so inconsistent. They'll probably lose by 100 points.
Todd.
I'm actually going Giants just because Cats have been terrible away from home this year. So I think Giants keep it going.
I'm tipping Cats in this one. I'm tipping Cats in this one. The Jekyll and Hyde part scares me with the Giants because they've done this before. They've pulled off a big win and then absolutely face planted or done the stepping on the rake and getting hit in the face type of thing. So I'm going to tip the Cats on this one. I know it's on the road at Sydney, but tipping Cats in this one. Blues, Hawks, Taz, can they get 8 in a row and upset the Hawks, or does the streak finally end?
Streak ends for sure. I'm not one of these supporters that tips my team. I'll tip Hawthorn for this. Hawks are just unreal, and they're in a very good. Other than the weekend, like the last half, you could see how they play. They just score quickly. They run over the top of teams. I just think they'll be too strong.
Right, Aggie, your thoughts on this one?
It's a tough one for me. So we got Whittle suspended, so he's out. But we got Battle, Watson, Eamon, and Impey. If 2 of those 4 are in, I'm going to lean towards the Hawks. But if more than two are out, I'm going to have to go Carlton.
All right, Toddy.
Yeah, I'm on the injury too. I think Hawks will get it done in the MCG, but if they're still missing that back line, Carlton's been scoring pretty heavily lately.
Yep, I'm with you on.
Weiner and Dean,
Yep. No, I'm with you on this. Tipping Hawks, I think they just have a little bit too much class. But again, I agree with you. If they don't get some of these injury replacements, it tightens this up and makes this much more of a coin flip game. Let's go to the Adelaide Oval where we see the Adelaide Crows versus the Sooking Kings that are the Suns. Toddy on this one. Crows, Suns. Who do you like?
Now I'm gonna back the Crows, but I will be not watching this one because of the commentary. I've sworn off Adelaide football this year because of the commentary.
Aggie, your thoughts on this one?
I think Gold Coast go 7 straight losses, and that means Adelaide are going to win.
Alrighty, Taz.
Yeah, I've got the Crom.
Give me the Crows on this one on the road. Just I can't wait for the sook that is the after game press conference. Cannot wait for that.
Sookie
I think
Suns, I love it.
let's go to Marvel Stadium. Western Bulldogs versus the West Coast Eagles on this one. Eggy, we'll start with you on this one. Dougie's Eagles, who do you like?
Western Bulldogs. I'll bounce back after that loss this week
All
and get
right,
over the
Toddy,
Eagles.
Yeah, I got the doggies too.
Taz.
I actually literally just changed my tip to the Eagles.
Oh,
I'm tipping the dogs, but I'm going to say it right now. Will not shock me if West Coast win this game purely on the fact that the Duggies are rattled. I don't think they know what to do. I think Bevo is throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks because the Timmy English move just did not make any sense. You cannot win if you cannot win it out of the center. And I love Lob has been an incredible defender. It just didn't make any sense to me. He cannot make that same mistake here against West Coast. Tipping doggies, but I think West Coast are in this with a crack. I cannot wait for that one at Marvel Stadium. MCG, Melbourne versus Richmond in this one. We'll start with you, Todd. Demons, Tigers, who do you like?
Demons first half last week. I think they do that again and absolutely obliterate Richmond.
All right, Taz.
Yeah, I think Melbourne by about 50 points.
All right, Eggy.
I reckon Melbourne by about 50 goals. So
We'll have the highest score ever in AFL history. Now, D's for me in this one. I think Richmond will scrappy. They'll keep it tight for the first half. For the second half, there's just too much talent on the D's side for this one. And then, yeah, what an ending to this round. Son of a bitch. Brisbane Lions, fellas. I'm not even going to ask. This is Lions all the way, right?
Yeah, I think we'll all be asleep by this one.
I'd rest half my team and still pick Lions.
I love betting odds. $1 Brisbane, Essendon, $17.
Yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath.
And I am not a gambler in this one, but this is this. I mean, oh my God, seriously. So talk about a lackluster ending. I'm going to be interested to hear the bounce respond after this one, especially if this goes the way it potentially goes.
I'll be interested to see how many they get in the crowd, to be honest, because I don't think there'll be a lot going to this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The Brisbane Lions will do. They have a chance to maybe sing Country Road every 10 minutes. So,
I don't like that song.
or whatever song is being sung by whoever kicks the goal, because somebody's kicking 10 in this one. Logan Morris, Charlie Cameron, Zach Bailey, Camarina. Somebody's kicking 10 in this one, unless Essendon absolutely find their head. I think somebody's going to kick 10 in this one. Somebody's going to get a bag, or you're going to get like 3 people kicking like 6.
4 bags. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Essendon's checked out.
Unfortunately, it's the James Hurd discussion and all that crap is doing my head in as well. Like I if they could fast forward through the season, I think the Dons would. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. That is all 9 games tipped again. Loving 9 games of footy to have to keep track of over the round. It's absolutely fantastic. But before we get out of here, again, TNT footy. Fellas, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. It has been fantastic to sit down and talk with you guys. I will go to you. I don't know which of you 3 wants to talk about this. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, where we can find it, and kind of what's the dynamic between you 3? Because again, Collingwood, North, Carlton, interesting trio of clubs that you guys support.
Do you want to go, Eggy, or Todd?
You go, Tazzy. You're the man.
Look, we're just 3 mates, really good mates. Sometimes when we're footy teams aren't playing, no, we're just 3 really good mates who were talking footy, playing games. Literally, that's all we spoke about. So we just decided we'd start recording ourselves talking footy. That was about three and a bit years ago now, and this year we've started to see some really positive growth. And we're not. Like, yes, we love the growth, but we just love talking footy, and we're really interactive with our viewers. So the show's live every Monday night, 7 p.m. Melbourne time. Excuse me. And yeah, got different segments, go through the round reviews. And it's really nice because we do get people come through the chat and we're seeing regulars now, and it's really good to hear their points of view and their opinions in the chat box as well. Anything else you guys would want to add?
No,
No,
you pretty
that's
much
about
nailed
it.
it.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, just come join in and come have a chat with us. Just talk footy.
Well, I will
But
say
thank you
this.
very much for having us on, though.
Absolutely. I love talking footy. I love being able to work with other podcasters because unlike in some organizations where there's our competitiveness, absolutely not. For me, I think it's fantastic to connect with other podcasters. Like I said, the two podcasts up here, I work with those guys all the time. I had Craig on my podcast a few weeks ago. I know Ethan and Benjamin, the two Kessel brothers, I constantly asking them, hey, you guys want to be on the show? I will say this: if you guys ever want an American to hop on the podcast, I would love to hop on, even if I have to wake up early in the morning, but absolutely adore it. So if you guys would love, I would love to hop on the podcast and chat with that.
Absolutely.
I'm constantly looking for podcasts to work with. It has been fantastic to have you guys on. Love your guys' opinions. Love the show. I've listened to several episodes. They're absolutely fantastic. I agree that sometimes the best shows are just the ones where it's just you talking with your mates, enjoying the footy, giving your opinions on it, because it's always fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of Donnie's Disposals. Again, if you like what you were listening to for the TNT podcast or even myself, please go out, support podcasters, because again, we love this game that is Aussie Rules football. And that's going to do it for this episode. And we'll be back with more footy coverage very, very soon.